Welcome to the All Things Circular podcast, your gateway to the circular economy. Hosted by industry experts Victoria Darcy and Rich Bolger. Every episode is proof that circularity isn't just good for the planet. It's a smart business decision. Our mission is simple: to empower, to inform, and to show you how to make the circular economy work for you.
Hello, welcome to another episode of All Things Circular. I'm Rich Bolger, and we're coming to you from the RLA, and I'm here with my good friend, Paul Baum. Paul, you've got a lot of things going on, but if you wouldn't mind, introduce yourself to our viewers, tell them what you do, and a little bit about your company.
Terrific. Rich, great to see you, as always and love what you're doing here. So
I love your colors, too. They kind of match.
I mean, we are matchy. Yeah. We are very matchy. So Paul Baum, I'm the founder and CEO of NextraTech and PlanITROI, and we are in the reverse logistics, refurbishment, and also IT asset disposition industry. We like to call it lifecycle services because lifecycle services encompasses all of that. We focus mainly on the organization that owned that equipment first or got that return first. So for here, as we are at the Reverse Logistics Conference, it could be a retailer, it could be an OEM, and we really do concentrate specifically on the compute areas of the world. That could be anything from the laptops and MacBooks that we use every day, the phones that we have in our pockets, to the servers and networking that runs, our infrastructure. So that's generally what we do.
Awesome. Well, let's go a little bit deeper into that sort of space, because some of the people that listen to this podcast are really new to forward, reverse, circular logistics, and they don't quite understand how it works. But if you follow the flow of material from the time it's made to when it's sold, you got manufacturers that make a whole bunch of things and they sell them out in bulk.
Yeah.
Big packets to distributors who will break them up and sell them quantities of one to the end customer. And the reverse kind of flows back. You're returning quantities of one, then you're returning quantities in pallets. When people change their mind, or if there's certain return rules like stock rotations or, a specific time window where returns can come back. Tell me about the types of clients that you support. Are you supporting manufacturers? Are you just supporting distributors? Are you supporting both?
All the above.
Okay.
So we see equipment coming back from, obviously from the consumer. So we have a direct to our warehouse type of facility operation. It's called a one box solution, where if they bought it at a large, let's say, retailer, and that retailer was on the e-commerce side, or even if they bought it in their store, but they want to return it e-commerce, they can return it directly back to us, which skips over many steps and also prevents an asset from being out there too long.
Okay. Yeah. Telling on myself, we've met in a prior life when I was working for Verizon.
Yeah.
You had a solution and we talked about it, and I was still learning this space a little bit, but I was sitting in a centralized returns and testing center. So all of our returns came to this place where we had world-class robotics and automation that would break things down and help us go through and sort and get ready for the next life. But the thought of bypassing a centralized testing center or return center to get it to the place that it's going to go anyway to save time and revenue is a really interesting concept, and it's smart.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So let me expand on that. We just opened up a brand new center of excellence in Youngsville, North Carolina, outside of the Raleigh-Durham area, specifically focused on training and teaching our 30 global partners that we work with to manage some of our largest global accounts. And the whole idea behind that center of excellence is to train and teach on how to get a direct user's product back. Because if we think about this, we sit in our homes, which are our home offices, about, let's say 50, 60, in some cases, 100% of the time. And we then drop it off at a retailer, and then that goes to the distributor, and then that goes to the OEM, and then that goes to one of your centers maybe. And all that time is wasted. And in that process, you have theft. In that process, you have all kinds of other issues that can come up, where we've created a solution where you can go to one of our centers across the globe and know that that unit is going to be looked at as a economic opportunity to get sold to the next buyer in line. And that next buyer, we drop ship as a single unit, literally from that facility. So you're bypassing what would be a significant amount of time, extra money, and resources.
Yeah, most people don't realize that every time a package moves from place to place, the cost to recirculate goes up.
And if you think about the environment from an ESG perspective, I mean, you are creating more, more emissions, by having a unit shipped so many different times. You're also creating a lot of excess packaging that may not be necessary. You're also creating all kinds of opportunities for what I would call, is it really a grade B or is it a grade A? What grade really is it versus, hey, this was a customer return, right? We've tested it using OEM software, and now we've graded it according to OEM standards, and now it's being resold in that exact, manner. And if it needs repair, or it needs, let's say, cosmetic care, right? It gets done right in that same exact facility.
Makes a lot of sense. I like to break customers down in different categories.
Yeah.
Customer one is a person that goes through and buys the thing the first time.
Sure.
They purchase a laptop and they decide, hey, I don't really like this one. Maybe it didn't have a touchscreen when they thought it would.
Sure.
And they return it back. Or when it gets traded in, if they used it for a while and then they no longer want it. And the second person that acquires that product, I call customer two. The third one, I call customer three. And I'm not seeing a lot of companies yet understand the buying motives for customer two, customer three, customer four, because they're not the same. So when you're acquiring product and you're helping it go from the hands of one user to the next, tell me a little bit about how you market to customer two. What would make them go through and want to buy something used?
So here's the greatest thing in the world. We're going into our 25th year of business at PlanITROI, and we have 25 years of data directly drop shipping to customer two, which we call our customer. And even if it was sold through a major retailer or reseller, we're providing that extended warranty and the support that's needed. So we get to really understand who's actually using them because we drop ship to an exact zip code, right? Which tells us the economic buyer, right? Number one. Number two, it also tells us their language. It could be, in an area of the country where, Spanish is more predominant than English. There's all kinds of opportunities to really get to know that customer. I'm being careful what I say because I got to be careful on a podcast.
Yeah, sure.
But breaking it down, we have literally millions of data points, not just on a single user, but on millions of users that we've been selling to over that 25-year period of time. And they're buying everything from a 7-year-old traded in laptop phone to a buyer of servers. There's a very large community that, buys servers. And these are small businesses. These are also large businesses, and these are consumers.
Talk to me about PlanITROI. PLANITROI. Tell me about how. What's the meaning of that name?
So we plan IT return on investment.
Okay.
I can't tell you I'm the one that came up with the name. When we were sitting around in early 2001, the whole idea was to be able to have a name where we could explain what we do for a living. And I think it's done an exceptional job. We do think about the end in mind for the first user of that product and how are they getting paid, right? And also make sure the second user of that product is getting an extremely high quality product.
Great. In the business that you're in, you actually have to go through and look at two different types of customers. We talked about customer two, customer three, customer four that would want to buy the things that have passed through a PlanITROI facility, been functionally and cosmetically graded to go and what inspires them to purchase a used product.
Sure.
But you also have to sell to distributors and retailers and convince them to use Planet ROI as the partner?
So the interesting part is we don't actually sell to them. We list our product on their site. We never put any inventory in their warehouses. So for example, we're not in Amazon fulfillment. We drop ship only. We're one of the few partners that's on Amazon Prime and on Renew, where we actually use our own warehouses. And the reason for that is we have ultimate control and we can turn our inventory much faster. So when you put inventory, as you know, Rich, in a distributor or a retailer, it's up to them to sell it to the next user.
Right.
We don't take that chance at all. We end up saying, hey, let us build the listing online for you. Let us go ahead and control what we can control as far as the content in order to get that user excited about buying it. And then we work through their promotional vehicles in which to get, better listing, visibility. It's all about visibility online.
Great. Now you've got a lot of interesting things that are going on. This is the first time I've seen you in a vest. I've seen you in a vest a lot, but the first time I've seen you in a vest with a different logo on it. Tell me what NextraTech is and this new venture that you're in.
Yeah. So, long story short, I was approached by private equity about 4 or 5 years ago to sell Planet ROI and build a platform in which we would go out and acquire other companies in the reverse logistics, life cycle management, and ITAD space. And as I was looking to make a deal there, what I realized is that private equity thinks very short term. They want their return back to their investors in 3 to 5 years. Well, if you've been in this business, there is no short term. And quite frankly, we don't want to sell out at a moment in time where, quite frankly, it may not be the optimal moment. So we created NextraTech, which is anti-private equity. We're backed by an extremely large publicly traded company, also Bank of America. And we are going to make our first large acquisition in Europe. We have several acquisitions lined up here in the United States. And we are a buy, build, and hold and grow organization. There is no horizon as to when we would sell the organization. There may be recapitalizations that go on.
Sure.
However, the owners that and founders that we're acquiring, they're also rolling over a portion of their proceeds into NextraTech. So everybody's focused on the same goal. How do we grow a really outstanding lifecycle services company that does make money to do good? So we're in the business, right, of making money so we can go out, sell our equipment to people that need affordable technology to do good.
Wonderful. We're in Vegas again. You and I have been to several of these RLA events over the years. Tell me why you keep coming back, and tell me some of the things that you're seeing kind of change within the RLA. So
I come back for Tony. Love Tony.
Everyone loves Tony.
Everybody loves Tony. In all seriousness, when I was a youngster in this industry, Tony was one of the first people when he was at Phillips to actually sit down, spend time with me, and educate me on the reverse logistics space. And that's going back almost 20 years ago. And I've always felt that this is a conference where I can learn something new. And again, I'm not surprised. I've learned something new again here. And I love to run into people that, I've been doing business with or frenemies, it's just good to
I've also heard
competition, whatever you want to call it. It's just nice to see people, it's good to be back.
What was one of the things that you learned this year?
So I learned,
because I haven't been in the show as much as I want to.
Not to give props to the person, but we're looking at a new piece of IP in order to receive equipment in faster, more accurately. And I was able to actually have several conversations. And one of the conversations led me to believe that we could actually pull off utilizing AI, visualization, and all kinds of other cool things through a conveyor to be able to receive equipment at lightning speed, which would cut down on a lot of backlog. So if you think about it, most organizations get in equipment, it's very lumpy. You're either super busy, right, or you're not. So you end up creating this backlog. Our average backlog is let's say 7 days, 7 business days. Imagine not having a backlog.
Sure.
Imagine having accuracy down to 99%, right? Everybody wants 100%, but having real accuracy on the receipt of that equipment, and then that data going into your database being very, very accurate versus a human being who's receiving it in with a backlog because they can only move so fast,
Right.
And the accuracy not being there. So I believe that will help the reverse logistics space a great deal, specifically around used equipment, which doesn't necessarily come in a box.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm going to try to translate that into my Army truck driver brain to make sure that I think I understood it. Because in my roles that I've been in, being a supply source in some companies, talking to my secondary market partners, one of the key questions when I asked what's one thing I could do to help was always get me consistent supply.
Yeah.
Because when you're going through and you're running an operation, you've got a plan for people and resources to receive, grade, test, put away, pick, pack, and ship. So if your bottleneck is on receiving and you go from having nothing for 3-4 days, but you still have to have the people to having a truck load come in, and now you need to go through and process without having to go through and rehire. It's always a challenge. I've been hearing artificial intelligence, machine learning now for several years, but this is the first time I really feel like it's being applied.
Yeah, there's breakthroughs happening as we're speaking. So
so if you can create a solution to the receiving bottleneck, even speed up the dispositioning bottleneck, the tech's really cool.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I love walking the floor because I can always find something.
We'll come to our COE and our Center of Excellence in Youngsville. Let's do a podcast.
Let's do a podcast from, you don't have to twist my arm hard to go to North Carolina.
Yeah, let's go. And you'll see, real excellence happening and real AI at work. That's quite frankly, not because we want to be in the AI business, but we want to be in the efficiency business.
Great. Now, one of the things that we'd love to ask on All Things Circular is about dispelling something that just isn't true, a myth buster.
Okay.
So we talked a little bit about this, but Paul, what's one thing that you've kind of encountered throughout your career that people think that just isn't grounded in reality?
So it's been a pet peeve for me for years. Everybody says they can sell product to the next user. However, and I would say 90+% of the organizations that are here and that I compete with really don't focus on who that next user is in line. And all I say is go to their dock at 4 p.m. when they have trucks rolling out their equipment that's on the outbound sales side. And are they individually boxed or are they bulk packed? And if they're individually boxed, take a look at the labels on those boxes. Are they actually going to individuals? Were they going to one company, right? That's then going to sell it to the next company. So the big myth in our industry is there are companies like PlanITROI and NextraTech that exist that really want to do the right thing and get the equipment direct to the next user. Everybody says they do that. We do it. Now, from a myth perspective, I would say the biggest myth there is, the condition wasn't right. Well, you shouldn't be selling equipment the same condition that it comes in if you're in this space. You need to be improving that condition. That's, again, why we built this COE, this Center of Excellence, so we can actually show you how we repolarize screens and take scratches out of them, how we skin and paint units to make them cosmetically beautiful, how we repair stuff and upgrade stuff in order for it to be used by the next user and actually used. We add an 18-month warranty, not an as-is warranty. We give support direct to that next user. So the biggest myth is, how are people really selling their equipment?
Fair enough. Well, Paul, you've covered a lot of territory. It is always really good to see you. I know how to find you.
Likewise.
And I appreciate you always be willing to answer the phone and sit down and talk through and strategize and solve problems. But if our listeners want to go through and learn more about PlanITROI or NextraTech or find you, how would they contact you?
It's very easy. First initial Paul, last name Baum, spelled Baum, at either NextraTech which is NEXTRATECH.com, or PlanITROI.com, which is spelled PlanITROI.com.
Great. Well, thank you so much
Thank you, Rich, for having me. I
come
really
in.
appreciate it, buddy.
Always good to see you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Please head over to allthingscircular.com to learn more.